start by saying it's an honor to be amongst a room of such fine athletic skill, both inductees and teammates, and supporting participants in that, both parents, families, children. It is pretty exciting to see this room full of so much love for sport and what sport can do for all of us, and love for Middlebury. It's an honor for me to present Donald Henderson, class of 1949, into this year's Middlebury College Athletics Hall of Fame. I had the privilege to speak with Don about 2 weeks ago. Don's 92 and is unable to be here just due to physical reasons, but I called Don and we had a fabulous conversation. We were on the phone for a good 40 minutes, and I thoroughly enjoyed chatting with him, and some of what I took from my talk with Don, I'm going to share with you. I had some pretty common questions for him, such as, what was your best moment at Middlebury? And Don's first comment was, in 1945, in 46 season, he was a freshman here at Middlebury, and he really wanted to share that the Snow Bowl didn't exist at that time, and the guys and girls on the team would hike up to Chipman. There was a trail there, and anyone who remembers the years of Chipman, you can still see some of the trails in the jump where it used to be. No Snow Bowl, hiked all the time, 30-meter jump, and these guys were 4-event skiers and gals. And that was a real topic of conversation, as I've always wanted to talk to guys and gals on the Middlebury ski team that ski jumped. A fascinating element of the sport of skiing. And those of you that aren't ski racers tonight, you're learning a lot about ski racing through the various stories of the inductees. Don spoke also very highly of a friend of his who was currently the women's team and his team coach, and his name was Joe Jones. And Don was a good buddy of his and spoke about how Joe was very influential in reaching out to try to figure out how they could get this really great place that he envisioned, which later became the Snow Bowl. Joe was influential not only in promoting this ski area, but he was also influential in finding a lot of the donors and making this happen. And Don, said, if there's anyone that you talk about, it's Joe. Joe is a good friend of his, and really was influential in that quest to develop what later became known as the Middlebury College Snow Bowl. Don's fondest memory of Middlebury was the group of guys that he competed with, and as he said, I quote, the esprit de corps of that group of guys. The commitment, the love for skiing, the competitive nature, and that the group never lacked fun. And he attributed to that, as we have already heard many stories about Bobo, he attributed that to Bobo and Bobo's his commitment to the team, but also his desire to make sure that if you worked hard, you played hard, and you enjoyed the sport that you love. John also conveyed many competitive tussles against Dartmouth, which still exist to this day. I also spoke with his daughter Nancy last week, and we shared a few stories. She gave me a gem of a story that within the last decade or so, up until Don was about 90 years old, Don would ski at the Dartmouth Skiway every single day and had to be the first person on the ski lift. As Don had some hip replacements, it was challenging to get on today's modern ski boots with really hard plastic in the cold weather, and much to his wife's dismay, would put on his ski boots at home in the warmth of their kitchen, and then get into his car with his ski boots on and drive himself to the Dartmouth Skiway, where he would then proceed to ski several runs and drive himself home. Anyone who's driven in ski boots, you know that's fairly dangerous. Another common theme that came up when I spoke with Nancy last week was that Don is incredibly humble. In my conversation with him over the 40 minutes that we chatted, to get anything out of Don about his accomplishments as a ski racer, I had to repetitively ask and poke and prod, and even that it was directed back to the love of skiing, the love of Middlebury, the love of his teammates. I did manage to get him to talk a little bit about his 1948 National Championship ski team event in which he was the captain of the team. In his words it was a very memorable race. He's a man of few words when it comes to expressing what a fine athlete and ski racer he was. As you can all see in his biography on the program, he's very accomplished. A few more of his accomplishments were that he was the ski meister at Middlebury College Winter Carnival in the years of 1946, 47, and 48. For those of you who do not know what the ski meister is, that's a combination of 4 event skiers who race in the slalom, and I believe it was downhill then, and cross country as well as jumping. So these are athletes that were jack of all trades in skiing. Very challenging to be successful in all 4 of those events because they all require several different types of bodies and body types to be successful. And Don, as one of his colleagues said, was likely the finest 4-event skier in history. I also want to go on to mention that Don was a veteran of World War II, serving in the 10th Mountain Division. And beyond his days at Middlebury, he continued his success as both a world championship coach, an Olympic coach, and a U.S. ski team coach. Beyond his academic endeavors and his coaching abilities, he also followed up with a fine academic career, having many successes as a teacher, a mentor, and a coach. As we've heard from John, Gordy, Terry, and others, he was a fine representative of Middlebury and a fine representative of Middlebury skiing and the sport of ski racing. I would like to bring up Nancy to speak in behalf of Don.
Thank you, Aaron, and thank you, Stever, and I'd especially like to thank everyone who worked so hard to make such a beautiful occasion. In April of 1945, just 2 weeks shy of his 21st birthday, and as he was being evacuated from Italy, Don was told by an army surgeon that he'd probably never walk again. So now, 71 years later, that still hasn't come true. In fact, recently when he had a visitor and she asked him if he always walked with a crutch, he said, "Well, yes, unless I'm running, then I used to." So since Don couldn't be here tonight, he asked if I would read this. "I'm very sorry not to be able to be with you on this wonderful occasion. I'm healthy but not able to travel. My life has been a skiing life. I learned to ski in 1930 when I was 6 years old in northern New Hampshire, and I skied every year until I was 90. I was even able to ski during World War II with 3 years in the 10th Mountain Division. As I got older, I enjoyed skiing more and more, but I must say that the most rewarding years of all were the 4 years I spent at Middlebury. Middlebury became preeminent in collegiate skiing around 1946, and underlying this success was Bobo Sheehan's natural and extremely colorful knack for ski coaching. Beating Dartmouth was always our very most important test. Inspired by the Middlebury team, in 1951, I began a career that included coaching. This made a life of immense enjoyment and satisfaction. And what fun it was to have a natural star like Gordy Eaton pop into my life. This honor you have awarded me tonight makes a fine culmination to a long and very happy life of skiing. Thank you, Middlebury College.